Robin Hood and his men ran a sort of business. They patrolled the lanes and roads of Sherwood Forest and protected travellers from murderers, marauders, muggers, rapists, thieves. And for such a service, they quite naturally expected some sort of gratuity or toll. But they were always fair. If a poor person came through unable to pay, they would arrive at their destination with enough money in their purse for a hot bowl of pottage, or maybe a new pair of shoes. But if some poor soul came through, weighted down with the burdens and anguish of too much silver and gold in their baggage, why, Robin and his men would relieve him of that burden, and that poor soul would arrive at his destination lighter in baggage and in spirit. One summer's day, Robin Hood and his men were lying along the thick oaken boughs that spread over the lanes of Sherwood Forest. They were looking out for people who might be in trouble, or any who were causing trouble. But things had gone slowly. They were bored. When suddenly they heard the welcome rattle of a cartwheel on the stony road. Robin parted the leaves, and there, coming along, was a potter with a well-laden cart. Robin turned to Little John, who was on the next branch, and said, "This potter, he's been using this road for 3 years at least, and I swear he has never paid a single groat in toll." John said, "Oh no, master, leave him alone. He and I came to blows some years ago, and I swear he almost killed me." Robin laughed at the thought of his enormous friend being laid low. But John said, "I mean it, master. That man is vicious, and I swear he has the devil's own fists." Then, seeing the determined glint in Robin's eye, Little John said, "But I will gladly lay out 40 silver shillings to the man who can make that potter pay toll." "Done," said Robin. He grabbed the branch and swung down and landed right in front of the horse, who, terrified, nickered and neighed and tried to rear. Robin put up an expert hand and calmed the beast, and then held on. The potter in his seat looked down and said, "Who the hell are you? What do you want? Get your hand off my horse." Robin, still holding on, very politely introduced himself and explained the nature of the service they provided to travellers. The potter said, "I don't need you. Now get your hand off the horse and mind out of the way. I look after myself." Robin sighed and said, "Well, if words won't convince you, we'll have to do this the old-fashioned way." He pulled a buckler from over his shoulder and drew his sword. "As you wish," said the potter. He reached down into his cart and picked up a heavy quarterstaff. He jumped down, moved away from the horse, and readied himself for combat. Robin struck the first blow, wielding the sword down hard and fast, but the potter was fast. His eyes, his toes, his balance, everything were perfect. He moved intelligently, quickly, sneakily. And with a sneaky backhanded blow, he landed a heavy thump on the buckler, sending it skidding away. Robin reached out for it, and in that moment the potter landed an enormous clump over Robin's shoulders, sending him crashing down, face down in the mud and gravel of the road. At this, Little John gave a signal to the others in the trees, and as a man they jumped down and surrounded the potter. He had the sense to know when he was outnumbered, dropped the quarterstaff and held his hands high. But Little John paid him no notice. He went and stood over Robin and said, "Well, master, who gets the 40 shillings? Robin groaned, rolled over and said, "You do, my friend, and if it were 100 shillings, I would still give you every penny." Well said. Little John helped him to his feet, and Robin turned to the potter and said, "I'm sorry. You were right, you do not need our protection. I hope you will consider us as friends." And then he turned to his men and said, "This potter is to be counted as one of us, a good friend. He is not to be stopped for toll nor fee. The only reason to speak to him when he travels through is to invite him to share food with us."